Okay. So today's topic is Content Marketing 101. I'll be covering what content marketing is, why B2B companies should be using content marketing, why they're not, and the top 3 things that you need for successful content marketing at your B2B company. So this is part of our Jülcast summer series, and this series features 15-minute webinars by the experts at Jül's marketing agency, which is us. We'll be focusing on digital marketing, specifically all things inbound marketing. I'm your host, Alicia Westfall. I'm an inbound marketing strategist here at Jül. A few administrative things before we get started. Please do mute your microphone. If you've called in, simply mute your phone. And if you're on a desktop mic, hover over the bottom left of your screen and click on the microphone icon to mute. Secondly, we're so excited to have you on today, and we hope that you'll join again. If you are unfamiliar with any of the terms that we're using today, please let us know. We aim to make these educational webcasts as short and as useful as possible. There is a chat pane available in the video screen for any questions, and you can also tweet at us at Jül Creative or use the hashtag #LearnWithJül. All right, as I said earlier, hi everyone, I'm Alicia. I'm an inbound marketing strategist here at Jül. I am focused on bringing together research with a content marketing plan. In particular, focus is put on targeting messaging via audience research for our clients. My favorite topics to write about include content marketing for business-to-business organizations, so that's especially fitting for today's topic. I also love writing themed blog posts because I get to show off my nerdiest writing that way. Thanks for joining me today. Let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which is Content Marketing 101. First, what is content marketing? It's not an easy definition to pin down. In fact, when you Google this term, over 49 million search results come back. It's especially gained popularity since 2011, so just in the past 5 years, it's grown about 500%. So take a look at everything up till about 2011, and then all of a sudden it jumps up quite a bit. Researching marketing does turn up a lot of results, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly where to start, but I'd like how Content Marketing Institute defines this term best. They define it as content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. Content marketing is related to, but different from, all of these forms of marketing that you may have heard of before. Native advertising, branded content, product marketing, traditional marketing, social media, SEO, inbound marketing, which we at Jül are very into, and public relations. But these things are not the same. Content includes anything that's produced, whether written, visual, or spoken, by your organization or a representative from your organization. It covers a very wide array of things, including your website and anything that appears on it, emails, marketing materials like flyers or advertisements, trade shows, and hosted educational events like this webinar or like a live presentation. All of this counts as content. So, based on those definitions that we just covered, here is why B2B companies need content marketing. First, let's review the definition again. It's a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience. And ultimately, we want to drive profitable customer action, which is the goal of marketing in the first place. Based on these definitions, it's obvious to me why B2B companies need content marketing. It covers 3 major points. First, content marketing focuses on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, consistent content. Relevance is created by meeting your ideal buyer when they're ready to buy, where they are ready to buy, and with the right information that they're looking for. Content marketing focuses on attracting and retaining a defined audience. To me, this rings especially true for B2B companies. You're not just marketing to anyone, you're marketing to buyers at other companies. That means they're really, really focused on research, and they're focused on the buying process, and the sales cycle could take 6 to 18 months. It's huge. Teams of 7 to 20 people are involved in the research, and your target audience is doing huge amounts of research prior to making a decision. And they'd rather conduct the research themselves when they're ready. How do I know? Let's take a look at the data. 80% of business decision makers would rather get a company information from a series of articles than from an advertisement. In 2007, it took 3.68 cold call attempts to get a response, but today it takes at least 8. That's telling us that people aren't responsive to cold calls because they're not ready to purchase whatever it is you're calling them about. More than half of respondents to the 2015 B2B buyers survey by Demand Gen said that LinkedIn and blogs were important research during their initial learning process. And that's followed up by a whole bunch of other social media channels as well. Content marketing focuses on driving profitable customer action. I'm going to refer back to the Demand Gen survey that I talked about before because it summed it up best. 86% of the respondents to the 2015 survey reported that vendor-focused content, such as case studies and product data sheets, were triggers that influenced their purchase decisions. So after they were doing that initial research using blogs and social media, like we talked about earlier, they're using other data from vendor-focused content to influence their purchasing decisions. Thought leadership content was also an important part of the mix. 75% of the respondents cited white papers and infographics among the top pieces of content that they reviewed during the buying process. Also clearly important to 87% of buyers was a better mix of content to help them through the research and decision-making stages. Content that built a business case or showed clear ROI for their purchase was cited as somewhat or very important by 83% of the buyers that were surveyed. So why aren't more B2B organizations doing content marketing? When it comes to driving profitable consumer action, content marketing, both during the research process and during the sales process, plays a huge role. While buyers are researching, having educational, relevant content online and available is hugely important. Once a buyer is ready to talk to sales, giving the buyer tailored information that backs up ROI is absolutely essential. Often, marketing is the team driving that research and needs to arm sales with the data they'll find useful to create that profitable action. So why aren't more B2B orgs doing it? Well, they cite lack of time, producing enough content, and producing the kind of content that engages as their top 3 content marketing challenges, according to Content Marketing Institute. In addition, 60% of B2B marketers identify lead generation as their top online marketing challenge, says eMarketer, but that also means it's a top goal of most B2B marketers. Proving the ROI of content marketing is also a struggle by many who don't have tools in place to do so. And we don't talk about that today, but we can talk about it with you if you're interested in learning more about a tool that would be very helpful to you to measure the ROI of your content marketing. So let me know if that's something that's of interest to you. So what's next? Here are 3 things that you can do to be successful at content marketing. And that will help you meet those lead generations goals that you were talking about before. Thanks to the advice from the Content Marketing Institute, this is how Jül creates its content marketing as well. So I'm using their formula and talking through how we use it here at Jül. First, you must have a documented editorial mission statement. For most B2B organizations, it'll look something like this. It'll identify the core audience, also known as a persona, target. And that's the type of person that you can help most with your content. Secondly, it'll cover what will be delivered to the audience, the types of information you'll provide through your content. And thirdly, it'll state the desired outcome for your audience, things that your audience will be able to do once they've consumed your content. So for any new content that comes up when we're researching or when we have an idea or when we're developing a strategy, we have to ask ourselves, will this help to advance our reason for existing? So will it advance the practice of inbound marketing for B2B businesses? Will it be actionable to our target audience? So in our case, will it be actionable to marketers and executives at small to mid-sized brands? And thirdly, will it help us to meet our key goal? So grow and maintain our email list or nurture those on the list to other activities. You can accomplish the mission in various ways, and that's where step 2 comes in. Step 2 is to have a documented plan to meet defined goals. This requires you to do a couple of things. First, it requires you to manage content pieces as business assets, creating goals for your content to meet, such as lead generation, engagement numbers, and target audience usefulness. And then finally, creating a content marketing plan, also known as a content strategy, to put a plan in place for the, quote, creation, publication, and governance of usable content. That's a direct quote from Christina Halverson of Brain Traffic as far as what should be the purpose of your content marketing plan. And the final step, create engaging content for your audience. That last part is hugely important. This one is a big one, guys. Engaging to your audience will not be engaging to everyone. Your company may sell machinery that makes coffee filters. While the rest of the world may hit the snooze on your content, coffee filter maker machinery buyers, the ones that are actually doing the research and the purchasing, are engaged and want more of what you have to offer. So give them what they want. Give them specs, give them video, give them pro-con lists, give them the works. Make it engaging directly to them. So what does all this mean for your business? We here at Jül have found out that the ROI of inbound marketing tactics, including content marketing, is 4 times the return of traditional marketing tactics. So are you ready to get started? If you are, let me know in the chat frame. We also have time now for some questions, if any have come in. I'm checking the chat frame now.
I do have a question. Could I voice it?
Absolutely.
I have 2. So you briefly touched on ROI, but I don't really understand how you track the ROI for content marketing. So are you tracking like for a blog post, how do you know if it's successful? How do you know if you need to be doing something different?
That's a great question. So when we set up a blog post in our content management system, we use HubSpot for ours. We're actually able to see how many people have not only viewed and engaged with that content, so how many people have seen it, how many people have shared it on social media. We can see comments that come in all the time. The other thing that we can track directly is if someone has made an action from that blog post. So have they moved on to another page because of that blog post? Have they clicked on one of our calls to action on the page and from there filled out a form? So for most of our content, the actual goal is to get someone to become a lead. So become from a visitor to a lead. So we want them to fill out that form and then become an engaged lead that our sales team can then take from there and move them through the process of potentially becoming a client of ours.
So are people really filling out those forms? Is it like, what are the percentages of people that are actually filling those forms out?
That's another great question. So we actually judge how well our strategy is working by how many of those forms get filled out. So if we see something that has over a 10% fill rate, which is, that's very true, then we consider it more engaging. However, if we have something that's less than 5%, it's not really engaging. It's something that we'll either revise entirely or take down because it's simply not working for our audience. We'd like to see, I personally like to see anything that's over a 20% fill rate for a landing page. Otherwise, I have to take a look at the content that's on the actual blog post leading to that page, or take a look at the landing page, or take a look at the form. Maybe it's simply too long. So these are all data points that we collect and can kind of tweak as we're doing our content marketing strategy.
Okay, that's interesting. So I'm kind of on the fence. Let's say for the financial industry, it is very competitive for keywords, and I'm not really sure about that. I mean, for example, if we were to do like financial advisor or financial planner or something like that, it's not possible for me to rank with that. So, what would be your suggestions if this is something I'm considering?
Sure. So a huge part, like you mentioned, of content marketing is keywords and keyword phrases. So search engine optimization utilizing those keywords. One thing that we recommend to our clients who maybe are going after some super competitive keywords is to first try to rank really well and really highly for some long tail keywords. That's more than 2 words in a keyword phrase. So if you're going after a financial advisor, maybe go after a specific type of financial advisor, such as business financial advisor in Wisconsin. That's a long tail keyword, so it's very long, but people are searching that term as well as the small terms. The other thing that I would recommend is to start creating content around that smaller, more hard to get search term, because you can always move yourself up, especially if maybe you can't get onto page 1, but you can get well known for having that specific content on your site just by going after that large keyword as well.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm checking Twitter. I don't have any additional questions that I'm aware of. And if someone would like to reach out afterwards, just simply email me at awestphal, AWESTPHAL, @jewelcreative.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks so much for joining us today, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.